similarities and differences between earth and heaven. Our consciousness comes directly from God, and with this knowledge we can try to imagine the similarities and differences between earth and heaven. Earth is a reflection of heaven, and we are nothing but God's children, although very imperfect ones, because we are spiritual beings who come from heaven. We have encoded within us various desires, dreams, and wishes that we are unable to suppress. I think there are many similarities between our world and heaven, but there are also many differences. Now let's imagine that we have a desire or a dream that we would like to fulfill. Let's say we want to buy a perfect little house in the countryside and live in it after retirement. So what do? Of course, we work to earn money for our little house. We save money in our accounts. Many years pass and we have more and more money. Finally, our dream begins to materialize and we buy our dream house in the countryside. Many years of sacrifice have passed, but we finally made it. It's the same with small things too. For example, if we want to buy some nice clothes, we just go to the store and buy them if we can afford them. So our desires become reality. However, before this happens, we have to put in some effort, some work, sometimes very little and sometimes a huge amount. It happens that we work almost our entire lives to fulfill some of our dreams in our old age. Unfortunately, however, we don't always manage to fulfill our desires and goals here on earth. In heaven, it's similar, yet different. We have a desire that is born in our soul. After entering heaven, for example, we first want to see our house. A short moment passes and this house materializes before our eyes. We want to listen to our favorite music and we hear it immediately. We dream of a trip to the mountains and we travel instantly. Except in heaven, we no longer have to struggle for our desires to be fulfilled. They are fulfilled immediately. We don't have to make any effort, but I think if we want to work, that possibility exists too. Because if we've enjoyed tinkering our whole lives and it brought us joy and satisfaction, we'll probably be able to do it in heaven too. Except in heaven, we won't feel the slightest pain, anxiety or fear, only pure pleasure even in the effort we make, and there all our desires are fulfilled without exception. Here on earth and there in heaven, everything really comes down to one thing: desire and wanting. Now let's think about what our earthly life really boils down to. We work all week, but on weekends we want to have fun with friends and family. We wait all year for our dream vacation to relax and go to our dream destination, and that's beautiful because it's a natural desire of our soul. This desire for fun comes from heaven. In heaven, there is also eternal fun, social gatherings, creating our dreams and desires. What about our consciousness? Here on earth we live, we create reality, we move thanks to the driving force, which is thought. Thought is the beginning of everything. We remain fully aware of what we are doing. It's the same in heaven. Everything is also preceded by thought, and we also retain full consciousness, except that it is much more expanded. We see many more colors, we feel more positive emotions, smells, we hear music that no one on earth has yet composed, etc. The main difference between earth and heaven is that here on earth we have heavy material bodies and we live surrounded by heavy matter. whereas in heaven there is only pure consciousness, without a material body and without heavy overwhelming matter. And most importantly, there is an omnipresent, great, all-encompassing love that cannot be expressed by any earthly words, which permeates us and everything around us. We are incredibly happy there. Because in heaven we don't have material bodies in the same way as on earth. We can move freely in any direction to any place we dream of in a fraction of a second. If we want our journeys to last longer than a second, that's no problem either. It all depends on our desire. In heaven we're like a gentle breeze. We are incredibly light. We don't feel weight, pain, or suffering. We permeate the heavenly matter without colliding with it, despite the fact that we are only pure consciousness. We can see ourselves perfectly because we can take any spiritual form we can imagine. What's more, we can take on other forms from time to time. It all depends on our wanting. From the moment we arrive in heaven, we are constantly learning, creating, developing, so there's no way we'll get bored there. We rise higher and higher. We enter into higher and higher dimensions. On earth there are breathtaking landscapes, nature and architecture that we admire. In heaven too, except everything is much more beautiful. Our admiration and excitement are also incomparably greater. For some reason, however, God doesn't want to reveal a piece of heaven to us, so that we can see it at least for a moment. I think that being in this cosmos, if we were to see heaven for a moment, its beauty could shock us so much that we wouldn't be able to live here any longer, and we might even die of impression. I'm not 100% sure, of course, that it is exactly as I wrote, but that's how I imagine it, and I wish it was so.